There we go. Realized my mic was not on because I couldn't see the sound. Okay. Get a little bit there. Get a little bit out of there. Do this. Wait, did I do that already? Alright. Now you can do that. Yes. There we go. Okay. Wait, one last thing. Okay. We should be good to go. Just gonna pull up. I gotta pull up here. Oh boy, I have to play that soon. Perfect timing for me to have to do a preview video. It's not like there isn't a do or die game 5 tonight. That's about to start in like 6 minutes. Perfect timing, me. But I ain't got no choice. Literally just came from work. I had no choice. Come from work, hop on, do this. There was nothing I can do about that. So it is what it is. Hopefully we don't screw this up. Oh my god, if we screw this up, it's gonna be problematic. You can't go home here. You literally can't afford to go home here. Okay. Whew. Let's get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. Week 6 of the NFL season. And my God, this has been the wildest week I have ever seen as a fan. This has also been the wildest week I have ever seen when it comes to football in the DMV. Dog, the way they've hyped this game up, you would feel like this is a Super Bowl game we're about to see. They've hyped this up like it's a Super Bowl matchup. This is a once-in-a-lifetime game we're about to see. A legendary matchup. Game of the year guaranteed. This has been crazy to watch. When the season started, no one expected this game to be hyped up this way. But because of how great Jaden Daniels has been and how he has brought the Commanders life and has brought life to the DMV, all of a sudden things change now. This kid has taken over. He has taken over the DMV. There's life in the city. And because of that, this matchup takes a whole new aspect. I did not expect to see this be hyped up like a Super Bowl matchup. It's been a crazy ride. But here we are, week 6. We've got the Washington Commanders rolling on down to M&T Bank Stadium to take on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I don't know if they finna drive there. I don't know if they taking an Uber. I don't know if they gonna hit the Metro. I don't know how they gonna get there. I'd say take the Metro. I don't know. Actually, what would the Metro be to get to Baltimore? Because, I mean, I go through New Carrollton and... Okay, let me not talk about this. Like, I don't even take the Metro. I just drive. But I actually want to know the Metro route from where we are in the DMV, all the way from Landover, where the Commanders play, from Landover all the way to Baltimore. I'm interested in seeing what would be the nearest Metro station. I'm pretty sure New Carrollton's the nearest Metro station, but I don't even know how far that would take you into Baltimore. I ain't even gonna lie, I don't know how far it's gonna take into Baltimore. I've never taken the bus all the way to Baltimore. Every time I go up there to watch the Ravens play, I'm always driving because I'm not taking the Metro. I'm just not. But yeah, I don't know what the Commanders players are doing. The fun part about this is technically they don't gotta go anywhere. I mean, the game is on Sunday. In reality, they could just not go. They don't have to go anywhere. They don't need to have a hotel in Baltimore, they could literally just stay home and then Sunday morning, just wake up, drive down to Baltimore, take the metro. They really aren't going anywhere. It's not that far of a distance between Baltimore and Landover. It's not that far of a distance. It's not that far of a distance. Matter of fact, let me pull out my GPS right now. I'm gonna prove this. It's not a far distance between Landover to Baltimore. I'll pull this up right now. That is a 40-minute drive. Okay, yeah. If you take the Beltway, it's a 40-minute drive. It is not a far distance. They don't have to go nowhere. The Commander players can go home, enjoy their weekend, stay with their families. Then Sunday morning they can drive on down to Baltimore. They ain't gotta go nowhere because it's that close. But it is what it is when it comes to the game. Either way, this is quite the interesting matchup. It is a battle of the Beltway because it's between two teams that are very close to each other. And it has been quite the interesting battle because there's always been a debate about the Ravens and where they place. Are they part of the DMV and all this other stuff? First of all, technically they are part of the DMV. Okay, let's not pretend. They are. The Ravens are part of the DMV. They are. Because Baltimore is in Maryland. They are part of the DMV. But the DMV doesn't claim the Ravens. We got to be clear. The DMV has always claimed the Commanders. The Ravens have just been a team that's been within the DMV that people don't really claim. It's not because like the Ravens are a bad team. It's just like the DMV don't really rock with Baltimore like that. It's not a part that they say. It's two different things. You got to be from the DMV to understand that. Like when people are like, well, Baltimore's in Maryland. Doesn't that count as DMV? No, they don't count that as a DMV. I'm just putting it out there. The Baltimore does not count as the DMV, even though it technically is in the DMV. But there's been a lot of bad blood between the Ravens and the Commanders. It's always started off on that very basic premise of the DMV and in aspects and arguments that come there. But there's been some bad blood, and it hasn't made it better. Due to what happened to RG3, because RG3, his career-altering injury started off because of the Beltway Bowl. Like, I've sat back and said, the Beltway Bowl in 2012 is the biggest reason, the biggest example, the biggest aspect of hatred that the Commanders have for the Ravens. Like, what happened in that game, in the Beltway Bowl, 12 years ago, that altered the direction of the Commanders franchise. Haloti Ngata injuring RG3 changed everything. And that is legitimately where the hatred started. There was always some nice back and forth banter, but because, the Commanders weren't, like, Washington wasn't doing anything during that time, and this was before RG3, there was not much of a discussion or conversation there. So it's just like, okay, it is what it is at the end of the day. But then you get RG3, he's having that magical rookie season. Then they play the Ravens, and then Haloti Ngata causes that knee injury for RG3 that begins the ultimate downfall of RG3's career, as he would tear his ACL in that playoff game against Seattle. And then all of a sudden, Washington's without a true franchise quarterback for the next 12 years. Now we sit here over a decade later. That bad blood between the Commanders and the Ravens have not changed. Their hatred is still there. They never forgave Baltimore for that injury. They never forgave them. So now we're sitting here 12 years later, and the intensity's still here. We don't talk about this because it's not really a rivalry. We see we see each other once every 4 years. So it's not really much of a rivalry, but it still technically counts within the realm of a rivalry in some cases because we're in the same area. So it is what it is at the end of the day. But, yeah, it's been 12 years. It's been 12 years since the RG3 incident. And that's where the bad blood between, the DMV, like DC, the Commanders, and then Baltimore with the Ravens, that's where the bad blood started. Haloti Ngata injuring RG3 is where that intensity took a whole new level. And since then, they have never forgiven the Ravens for that. So, yeah, here we are, Beltway Bowl. This has been promoted to be a Super Bowl matchup based on how they have promoted it. I mean, this is just game of the year material, I guess. It's going to be the best game we've ever seen. A once in a lifetime type of performance with the way they have been literally promoting it all week. Like, look at the picture. Look at the picture I'm showing you right now. This is from the Commanders, by the way. Look at the picture. I mean, the way they're promoting this is just insanity. It's been crazy how they've been promoting this game. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup. You've got the reigning MVP, two-time MVP Lamar Jackson. You've got the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, rookie sensation right now, and the guy who's most likely going to win Rookie of the Year in Jaden Daniels. So you've got this guy, Jaden Daniels, that's leading a red-hot offensive Commanders team. One of the best offenses in the league. In fact, they're the best scoring offense in the league because they're number one in scoring at 31 points a game. They're coming down to Baltimore to take on the number one offense in totality because the Ravens have the most yardage of offense, but they're the number two scoring offense at around 29.1 points a game, so it's, or 29.8 points, around there. Either way, it's very close. You got the number one and number two scoring offenses. With that, you've got two of the worst defenses in football. Now, with Baltimore, their pass rushing is middle of the road. They actually surprisingly have, well, actually not surprisingly, they somewhat surprisingly have the number one rushing defense in football, and they've got arguably the worst passing defense in football. Meanwhile, the Commanders, they've got one of the worst rushing defense in the football. They've got a decent pass rushing unit, and they have one of the worst pass defenses in football. So you've got two hot offenses and two bad defenses. That seems like a recipe for a shootout at the bank. So there's so much that's going to go into this game. So much energy, so much passion is going to go into this game because of the comparisons that have been made between Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson, and the way we're watching Jaden Daniels just change life in Washington. In terms of the comparisons, I'm gonna be honest. I've always been on the mindset that I hate comparisons. Let these players be themselves. Every time some new young player comes out of the draft, y'all want to say he's the next this and the next that. No, he don't need to be the next this. He don't need to be the next that. Let him be the best version of himself. Stop with these comparisons. When Lamar was doing his MVP campaign back in 2019 and people were trying to compare him to Michael Vick, I said no. Vick is Vick, Lamar is Lamar. Let Lamar be his own self. He's not trying to be the next Michael Vick. He's trying to be the best version of Lamar Jackson. And obviously, we're sitting here through 7 years of the man's career, and we're seeing this is the best of Lamar Jackson, a two-time MVP, two-time first-team All-Pro, a guy that's led this league in touchdown passes, a guy that's going to be in the Hall of Fame someday. So we've seen the career he's built for himself. He's searching for his first championship. He didn't turn out to be the next Michael Vick. He turned out to be the best version of Lamar Jackson. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Jaden Daniels. He's not going to be the next Lamar Jackson. He's going to be the best version of Jaden Daniels. And the best version of Jaden Daniels is changing life in Washington and potentially bringing a championship to this city. Jaden Daniels has been brought here to be the savior of this Commanders franchise. He's supposed to be here to turn things around. And if we're ever going to regain the reputation that this team built up, it's going to have to be because of this kid. And what he's doing right now is fantastic. It's truly special. So much has been built up because of the comparisons of these guys and how both these guys have been playing well. Both of these guys are in the MVP conversation. Both of these offenses have been electric and have been scoring at high levels. So there's so much that goes into this matchup. But we do got to talk about this matchup. So we're gonna get into it. But before we do, I'm gonna keep it a buck, guys. Sunday, when I'm here live streaming the game, that's going to be the most chill live stream I've had in 4 years? Actually, that will probably be the chillest live stream I've ever had here. Because, I'm going to keep it a buck, man. I'm not going to be hurt here. I'm not going to be hurt. No matter what happens in this game, I'm not going to be hurt. If the Commanders win, I'm going to be fine with it. If the Ravens win, I'm going to be fine with it. I know usually we see me in the live streams. You see me whenever we make a mistake. Or we do, I mean, if John Harbaugh want to do something stupid, he could do something stupid. I'm not going to get mad. If the defense is getting cooked by Jaden Daniels, I'm not going to be mad. Y'all going to be surprised. Y'all going to be sitting here. You're going to be in the chat watching me. And I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, defense is getting cooked. Jaden Daniels doing his thing. I'm going to be cheering when the Ravens do something. I'm going to be cheering when the Commanders do something. I'm just going to keep it a buck. That's just how it's going to be. If you've been on this channel long enough, you understand my reason for this. I've been very clear as to why this has been the case. But this is the first time I've ever been in this situation where I actually can live stream a game between the Commanders and the Ravens, and there's actual potential that either one of these teams could win, and they're playing at a high level, and they're both challenging to be playoff contenders and potential Super Bowl contenders. This has been the first time this has been the case, legitimately, since RG3's rookie year. So I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. Like, the Ravens secondary is getting cooked by Jaden Daniels. I'm not gonna be mad. If the Commanders' run game is going off on our defense, I ain't gonna be mad. When Lamar's cooking the Commanders' defense, I'm not going to be mad. When Derrick Henry's running all over the Commanders' defense, I'm not going to be mad. When Lamar and the offense score, I'm going to be happy for it. When Jaden Daniels and the offense scores, I'm going to be happy for it. If the Ravens walk out with the win, I'm going to be happy for it. If the Commanders walk out with the dub, I'm going to be happy for it. This is just how it's going to be. So I'm going to tell you, man, Sunday is going to be the chillest stream for me because there's no stress. If the Ravens choke a 10-point lead, I'm going to turn it to, hey, Jaden Daniels proving he can come from behind. Because all of a sudden people talk about, oh, yeah, you know, they're getting out on these early leads and they're just chilling and cruising. No. I'm not going to sit here and say Ravens choked the lead. I'm going to be pissed. It's like, no. Jaden Daniels led the comeback. He's doing his thing. Rookie of the year. Potential MVP. I'm sorry. You're not going to get me to be pissed off at this game. I will not be mad at the results of this game. If the Ravens win, I'll be happy with it. If the Commanders win, I'll be happy with it. That's just how it's going to be this Sunday. I just wanted to put that out here. I'm not going to be mad with the results. I'm not going to be mad with the results. Whatever happens, happens. I'm just not going to be mad with the results. If you've been on this channel long enough, you understand exactly why I'm saying this. But I'm not going to be mad at the results. So this game is going to be fun. It's going to be really fun to actually do this. It's going to be the first time I get to just be a commentator and I don't have to be emotional about the results. Whoever wins is whoever wins. At the end of the day, we shake hands and move on. I'm going to be chill. I'm going to be cool with whatever result happens on Sunday. I won't be mad. You won't see a rant video if the Ravens lose this game. You're not getting none of that. You'll probably see me come up like, well, you know, the team fought hard. Defense got to show they got to be better. You move on to next week. I'm going to be so chill. It's going to be weird. But yeah, let's actually get into this game because there is some things to talk about here. First thing I have to speak of is the injury report. So the Ravens and the Commanders have posted their injury reports throughout the week. There are a lot of guys on the list for both sides who were either limited or who had limited participation in practice this week or had full participation. And there's been a few that did not participate. But either way, when you look at it at the end of the day, for the Commanders, they are going to be relatively healthy. A lot of their guys were on the injury report this week, especially a lot of guys on the defensive side for the Commanders that were literally on the injury report this week, but they're going to be good to go for the most part. Some notable names throughout the team for offensively and defensively that's good to go. Austin Eckler is going to be good to go. Emmanuel Forbes, he's going to be good to go. Dante Fowler, he's going to be good to go. We got a good chunk of people here that's going to be good to go. Noah Brown's also going to be good to go. The only thing that you have a concern with is Brian Robinson. Because Jordan McGee, he's questionable. Brian Robinson is the main aspect. Tyler Owens, he's out for this game. He's not going to play for the Commanders. But the main concern, in my opinion, is Brian Robinson not playing this game. Brian Robinson is arguably the best back on this team. His explosiveness and his explosiveness in running the ball is key to the Commanders' offense, and especially when it comes to their running game. So we need Brian Robinson out there to participate. Now, the fact that he's questionable makes me think he's going to play. But here's the thing. He didn't practice at all this week. Brian Robinson did not participate in practice at all this week. So it makes me a bit worried and concerned that he's not going to play in this game. But I do think he will because I'm pretty sure he played. Yeah, he played last week against the Browns. He just wasn't at 100%. So the fact that he didn't practice again due to this knee injury, there's a possibility he doesn't go. He is questionable, but he went last week against Cleveland. I think he could potentially play again. But even if he doesn't, you still have Eckler who's going to be there. You're still good with your passing game in terms of who you're going to lean to. So for the most part, I'm not necessarily concerned with the Commanders' injuries. Their defense should be good to go. Everyone should pretty much be back. except Owens is going to be out, but everyone else is pretty much good to go. And offensively, everyone should relatively be out there. You're still going to have your weapons for the most part. You're still gonna have you're gonna have McLaurin, you're gonna have De'Ami Brown, you're still gonna have McCaffrey, you're gonna have all your guys out there for the most part. So I don't think the Commanders' offense is gonna be limited offensively or defensively. They seem to be pretty much healthy for the most part, so we should be good to go on that aspect. Other than that, you look at the Ravens side, it's actually a lot more questions in terms of who's going to play. So already that there's been three players that have already been eliminated. They're out for the game. Broderick Washington, he's out for the game. He's been dealing with a knee injury. He did not practice this week. Or Arthur Millette, who's been dealing with his injury that he had suffered way back in training camp that he's trying to get back from. He did not practice with the group this week. He's already been eliminated out. It's getting very soon towards, I think he had that 21-day, because he was on IR, so he has that 21-day period where he has to practice. Otherwise, that's it for him. So we'll have to see how that works out next week. But Millet's already out for this game. He's not going to participate. And Malik Harrison, who had dealt with a groin injury and did not practice this week, he's also out for the game. You had some guys that were on the list. Rashad Bateman was dealing with a groin injury. He didn't participate on Wednesday. He was limited on Thursday. Full practice today. He's good to go for the game. He's going to be fine. Charlie Kolar dealt with a little toe injury. He was limited on Wednesday and then participated in full Thursday and Friday. He's good to go as well. Roger Rosengard, he suffered some sort of ankle injury for the most part. He was limited Wednesday, Thursday, full participation Friday. He's good to go as well. And Andrew Voorhees, he dealt with, he's been coming back from that ankle injury. We've been trying to get him back. He was not playing last week. This week, he was a full participation, full practice for him all week. Full practice for him. He's good to go. He's available if they do want to put him out there for this game. So you've got 3 guys that are out. You've got 4 guys that are good to go, and then you actually have 5 guys that are questionable. Rashid Ali, which he hasn't really been playing at all. He participated full in practice. He was dealing with a neck injury. He's questionable. Salah, he's also questionable. He's only had a limited participation today. I don't expect him to play. You also look at Deontay Hardy, who's been dealing with that knee injury. He was a full participant Thursday and Friday. He's questionable for the game. Marlon Humphrey, he had dealt with that ankle injury. We saw he was wearing that boot after the game. He didn't participate on Wednesday. He's been limited on Thursday and Friday practices. He's questionable. And then last but not least, Ronnie Stanley dealing with that toe injury. He didn't participate on Wednesday. He was limited on Thursday and Friday. He's also questionable. So you've got a lot of questionable guys for the Ravens, but nowadays, questionable means you're going to play. I'm not going to lie. 9 times out of 10, questionable means you're going to play. So I assume these guys are going to be out here unless there's some sort of last-second mishap. So, yeah, the Commanders are pretty much good to go. They're going to pretty much have everybody out there, miss 1 or 2 players, but they're going to have pretty much everyone out here. For the Ravens, there's a lot more question marks about who's going to be out there, but we should expect to see most of them. Pretty much 3 people have been eliminated. They won't be participating in this game, but we should have a good idea of who's going to be out there for the most part. So that is also a good aspect to look at here. Now let's actually get into the game for the most part, because that is an aspect we do need to talk about. So, Commanders have the number 1 scoring offense. Ravens have the number 2 scoring offense. The Ravens are the best running team in football, and I believe the Commanders are second. They're the second best running team in football. We have this dynamic rushing attack right now with Derrick Henry and Justice Hill, what they do, and then you combine Lamar and that in terms of his impact in the running game and how that helps those 2 out right now. And that creates the most dominant running game in football once again. Another year where we lead the league in rushing is probably going to happen. But then you look on the flip side and you look at the Commanders, and they have their own rushing attack here with Brian Robinson Jr., with an Austin Eckler, and with Jaden Daniels and what he's able to do in terms of get out the pocket, extend the plays, but also be able to take off and utilize the wheels. He had 82 rush yards against the Browns. He was very elusive, and he was just utilizing those wheels. He's got tremendous speed, so he's a mobile quarterback that can take off. He is a true dual-threat quarterback. So, yeah, you've got 2 teams that have similar rushing attacks in terms of how effective they can be. It's just Baltimore's rushing attack is just more potent and better because Derrick Henry is just a better running back than Brian Robinson Jr. or Austin Eckler, so it's more potent there. But both of them have great rushing attacks. Obviously, both teams are going to come in looking to run the football on their opponent because that's the aspect that establishes everything. Then you look at the pass game for the most part. And if you take a look at it, I'm actually going to pull up the stats here for both Lamar and Jaden Daniels because the passing game for both of them has been great this year. Lamar's been throwing the ball really well this year. Just taking a look at some of his stats here. In terms of the season, you look at it for Lamar on the season. Wow, it didn't even show. Yeah, in terms of Lamar on the season, 1,206 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception, passer rating of 107.3, QBR of 67.1. Lamar's having another MVP type of season here, putting his own MVP campaign here, however you want to look at it. He also leads the league in rushing yards for quarterbacks. He's number 1. With how much? Let me see. He leads the league in rushing with, I believe it was 383 or 363. He leads the league in rushing with 363, has 2 rushing touchdowns. Jaden Daniels is actually number 2 in quarterbacks for rushing. So Jaden Daniels is right behind Lamar. So everything Lamar has been doing, been playing great. Jaden Daniels is right behind him. Jaden Daniels, 1,135 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a QBR of 73, a completion percentage of 77.1, passer rating of 106.3. He's also rushing the ball very effectively. He has 300 rushing yards. He's second only to Lamar, and he has 4 rushing touchdowns. So Lamar and Jaden Daniels have been fantastic. And when you take a look at their weapons as well, it's been great. You look at a Terry McLaurin, who's one of the most underrated receivers in football today. He finally has a quarterback that can throw him the ball and somebody that, he trusts to get him the football in big moments because that's what they've been doing so far through 5 games. Terry McLaurin is a fantastic receiver, underrated. He's a fringe top 10 receiver, no question. But then you got another guy like De'Ami Brown, who I've been really high on. I thought, we were going to be relatively fine because I sat back and said, Jahan Dotson, I was rooting for him, but he just wasn't fitting in with what they were trying to do offensively. I'm perfectly fine with moving off of Jahan Dotson because I'm looking at De'Ami Brown. De'Ami Brown's making plays all through training camp. De'Ami Brown was making plays in the preseason. I thought he was ready to take that wide receiver 2 spot. That's exactly what he did. And De'Ami Brown got in the end zone last week against the Browns. He is another weapon for them to utilize. They've been trying to get him going, and they were able to get him going. So that's a great thing to see. That's another weapon for him to use. And then you just look at how McCaffrey's being utilized as well. Zach Ertz being there as another tight end. They have weapons, man. The Commanders have weapons. On the flip side, the Ravens do have weapons as well. You look at a Zay Flowers, who's been great so far this season. He's been productive. Not as productive as you initially expected him to be coming into the season, but he's still been relatively productive. Rashad Bateman's actually putting together a really good season for him. This is probably going to be the best season of his career if he's able to stay healthy because he's off to a pretty good start. Both Flowers and Bateman has been a 1-2 punch there in terms of the receiving aspect. They've been great. You take a look at the tight ends, and honestly, it's kind of like a pick your poison type situation here. Andrews is finally starting to get going. We saw him be utilized a lot more last week against the Bengals. Expect him to get more and more opportunities as the season goes on. Isaiah Likely is showcasing that he is that guy. 2 receiving touchdowns last week against the Bengals, including that one crazy play that Lamar made to him. So, yeah, you look at Isaiah Likely, you look at Mark Andrews, you look at Charlie Kolar, who's another weapon. The Ravens love their tight ends, and if they're able to run some of these 3 tight end sets, whether it's to block or whether it's to utilize in the passing game, they're not afraid to do that, and it's highly effective. That's the aspect that they were running back in 2019 when Lamar had his first MVP season. They ran that 3 tight end set with Andrews, with Hurts, and with Boyle, and it was highly effective. And that is something the Ravens have always wanted to bring back. And now they have 3 really good to great tight ends that they're able to utilize like this, both in the blocking as extra protection or in the pass game because these guys are pass catchers. So you see the Ravens do have weapons there just like the Commanders do. And because of that, it's led to a lot of great passing between both quarterbacks and a lot of great plays between these receivers. So the passing game has been great. The running game has been the very best between these 2 teams. And it's looked great. So we expect both of these teams to come out here and put up points damn near religiously. They're going to be putting up points at will because these offenses are playing at such a high level. They're playing at such an efficient level, and they've just been that damn good. On the flip side, you have to take a look at the defense. And like I said to start off early on, to start off this topic, Baltimore's defense and Washington's defense is not good. They have not played well. Now, with the Ravens, you could talk about the talent they have on the defense because you have a Marlon Humphrey, because you have a Kyle Hamilton, because you have a Roquan Smith, because you have these guys that you expect the defense to be better. Now, again, the Ravens' run defense is actually the best in football. It's the best in the league. However, I don't know how strong that take is. And I've had this opinion for a little while now. I don't know how strong that take is in terms of saying the Ravens have the number one rushing attack, because if you've been watching how teams have been playing the Ravens throughout the season, they're not really looking to run the football, especially because a lot of the guys we've faced off so far don't have great backs. The best back we have faced so far through 5 games has easily been Pacheco, who's hurt now, but Pacheco was the best running back we had faced so far throughout the season. Week 2, I don't even remember who was running the rock for the Raiders. They weren't even running the ball much. They just put the ball in the hands of Gardner Minshew's. They just put the ball in the hand of Gardner Minshew and just said, go win us the game, and that's what he did. And then week 3, you had Dallas, and it was Zeke, and it was just like the running game for them wasn't really doing much there. Like what Zeke and Dowell, and it really wasn't doing much there. Not to mention they got down big, so they just reverted to throwing the ball damn near 50 times with Dak Prescott. So that was not a good test to see what the running game can do, or the running defense can do as well. And then after that, they had Josh Allen in week 4, and you're dealing with Cook, who's trying to still get himself going, and he had a relatively decent game. But again, it was another situation where the Bills were down huge, so they had to resort towards throwing the football. And that's what was happening there. And then with Cincinnati, they had Zach Moss. They don't really have a running game in Cincinnati. It's just Joe Burrow airing it out with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and just hoping for the best, which hasn't worked out for them. So yeah, through 5 games, the Ravens haven't really had any major competition in terms of the running game. So I don't know how strong that run defense is. Even though they're ranked number 1 now, they haven't really been battle tested against a legit rushing attack. They will be battle tested this Sunday, because this is a rushing attack they have never faced off against in a game. Obviously, they go up against Lamar and Derrick Henry in practice, but practice and game time is 2 different things. So they have to sit back and deal with Brian Robinson if he does play. They have to sit back and deal with Austin Eckler. They have to sit back and deal with Jaden Daniels breaking out of the pocket, escaping, rolling to his right, getting out of the pocket and taking off and utilizing his legs. So it's going to be a very tough adjustment for the Ravens to be able to deal with, but they've done a relatively good job in stopping the run, so I think they're going to have a solid performance here in terms of trying to stop the run. But other than that, the Ravens' weakness is clearly the pass. Their run defense is great. Their pass rush is solid, but their passing defense is god-awful. One of the worst in the league. They can't stop a nosebleed. And whenever they go up against skill position players, they get cooked. Well, unfortunately, you're dealing with Terry McLaurin this week, so he's going to be cooking whoever the hell's on him. It's going to be that type of situation unless the Ravens defense can get themselves together. They've been saying it's been a lot of miscommunication that's been happening. Guys just haven't been playing up to their standard, such as Marcus Williams. But, it is what it is at the end of the day. If they can fix it, try to fix it. But until we see that level of correction and we see the defense get fixed, we're going to hold you accountable for how you've played. And the passing defense has been terrible. The secondary has not done their job. They've been awful. So you've got one of the worst pass defenses in football, and you're going up against one of the hottest quarterbacks right now. That's a dangerous combination here, because if you can't stop the pass, you're going to have some troubles with this young quarterback. On the flip side, Washington's in the exact same situation. The Commanders' rushing defense is one of the worst in the league. Their passing defense is one of the worst in the league. They can't stop a nosebleed. They're trying. They're trying to show some improvements, but they have not taken on an offense in the rushing attack like this. So it's going to be very difficult for me to see the Washington Commanders make enough stops in this game to be able to hold the Ravens offense to under 30. I think it will be a high scoring type of game. So with us knowing how the offense is and knowing how the defense is, it comes down to the conclusion overall that this is going to be one of those matchups that may turn into a shootout. Keys to the game. I'm doing both sides. I think for Washington, their keys to the game, offensively, continue to stick to the formula. Cliff Kingsbury has done a great job in creating a formula that works best for the rushing attack for this team, as well as what works best for Jaden Daniels. There is no reason to change it. They have been one of the most efficient scoring teams in football. They've been the best. I think they scored on 18 of 23 possessions they've had so far. through 5 games, they've been that damn efficient. Every time they step on the field, damn near 90% of the time they step on the field, they're scoring points, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. They're that efficient. They don't really punt the football. They can get the ball down the field in a hurry. They can move the ball at will. This team will do damage to this Ravens defense, no question. So I think the keys to the game for the Commanders offensively, stick to the formula, protect Jaden Daniels. So stick to the formula, protect Jaden Daniels, and play a clean game. You cannot turn the ball over. In this type of game, both teams will be battling for time of possession. You cannot afford to give up a possession to the Ravens. You cannot afford that. So offensively, stick to the formula, protect Jaden Daniels, play a clean game. If you do that, Jaden Daniels is going to make magic happen, and he's going to do his thing, and the Commanders are going to have a great chance to consistently score points against the Ravens defense. On the flip side, for the Ravens, offensively, keys to the game. Establish the run. There are days they don't like to establish the run, and there are days where they absolutely like to establish the run. You've got Derrick Henry. You're going up against one of the worst run defenses in football. Establish the run with Derrick Henry. That has to be number one priority. Number two, you got to play a clean game. Lamar, you can't be fumbling the ball. You cannot be fumbling the ball. I know you're taking your eyes off the ball last second to take a look at the defense or take a look at something, but buddy, you cannot be fumbling the ball. You cannot be fumbling the ball. If you make these type of crucial turnovers in big moments, it's going to cost your team. You cannot afford to fumble the ball. So you need to play a clean game. That is the second aspect. Third, you got to protect Lamar Jackson. You've got to protect Lamar Jackson in this game. You have to. If you give him time to throw, he will hit these receivers. They will be able to make big plays. They'll move the ball down the field, and they will be able to score at will. And fourth, but not least, of course, get the ball in the hands of your playmakers. We've got skilled guys on this team. Zay Flowers can be a playmaker. Rashad Bateman is showcasing that he can be a playmaker, and Lamar's starting to trust him. The chemistry's starting to showcase there. So Bateman's another one. Isaiah Likely is a playmaker. Mark Andrews is a reliable weapon that you can get the ball to. Charlie Kolar is another guy that could potentially be utilized. Get the ball in the hands of your players and let them go out there and make plays for you. If the Ravens offense can do that, they should be relatively fine. Now, on the flip side, defensively, this is where things get tough. I'm going to start with the Ravens because I think they have an easier chance to stop Jaden Daniels than the Commanders have of stopping Lamar and Derrick Henry. So, on the flip side, defensively, they got to stop the run. If there's any time to flex that number one rushing defense that they supposedly have, it's time to prove it here. You need to stop the run. You take away the run game, you look to contain Jaden Daniels in the pocket, and you force him to throw from there and just be able to beat you time and time and time again. Now, with the way this rookie's been playing, he's fine standing in the pocket and making those type of plays. He's been that damn accurate. So if he has to stand in the pocket and dice you up from there, he's able to do that. I just feel like that's the best chance you're going to have there. So defensively, stop the run, contain Jaden Daniels, and keep him in the pocket. Number 3, you've got to put pressure on Jaden Daniels. Put pressure and force him to make a mistake or force him to get sacked. Either way, you've got to pressure Jaden Daniels. And number 4, you want to create turnovers. I think that's what the defense wants to do, create turnovers. You're going up against the rookie. The Ravens love going up against rookies. Historically, they've been one of the best teams against rookies in these matchups. So they're going to throw a lot of disguised coverages and blitzes that Jaden Daniels is not going to be able to see because he's a rookie here. He hasn't fully seen these type of defenses. So I know Zachary Orr is going to have something cooking up, especially because Dean Pease is in the building now. So he's going to have something cooking up in terms of how he's going to try to contain Jaden Daniels in the pocket and go from there. So we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, defensively, stop the run, contain Jaden Daniels in the pocket, and force him to just become one-dimensional and just throw from there because he's not able to get out of the pocket. Create turnovers for the most part, and put pressure on Jaden Daniels to make mistakes or get the ball out of his hands quickly enough for you to try to take an opportunity with that. So yeah, those are 4 things they have to do defensively. On the flip side for the Commanders, in terms of trying to stop Lamar and Derrick Henry, I could make a joke and just say pray, but in all honesty, I think their best chance to win this game is to stack the box and turn this into a shootout. I think they have to fully dedicate their defense towards stopping Derrick Henry. Every time Derrick Henry's out there, they need to load the box up. Every time they're in that I formation, they need to load the box up. The defense needs to load the box up. If they got to play cover 0, play cover 0. But they've got to load the box up and make sure Derrick Henry gets taken out of the game. If they can do that, they're going to put it on Lamar to go be Superman. And at that point, it becomes a shootout. So number 1, stop Derrick Henry at all costs if you're the Commanders. Load up the box, stop the run, stop Derrick Henry from going off at all costs. Number 2, You've got to force turnovers. If you force mistakes, you're going to get extra possessions to Jaden Daniels, which is exactly what you want. The more possessions Jaden Daniels has, the higher the chances of them scoring because they're scoring at a high efficiency. So if you're able to get extra stops, that's going to boost your chance of being able to score. So that's exactly what they need to do. So limiting turnovers is number 2. Number 3, they've got to pressure Lamar. They've got to find a way to get the ball out of Lamar's hands quick enough for him to not be able to make any sort of play down the field. Get the ball out of his hands quickly, and if you're able to, get to him, get him sacked, get him down to the ground. That's what needs to be done. So put pressure on Lamar Jackson. And then last but not least, they can't give up big plays. Same thing for the Ravens defense, by the way. You can't give up big plays over the top to Terry McLaurin. But I think this is more so for the Commanders to just not give up big plays in general. It doesn't have to be passes that's going to go over the middle or over the top. No. These are just passes from any aspect because Lamar Jackson has been elite in throwing the ball in the short and intermediate game. He has been killing it there both in and outside the numbers. If you take a look at how his efficiency has been, how his chart has been looking, where he's been throwing the ball, he has been top tier and efficient in both short and intermediate balls. Now, of course, with the deep ball, we haven't seen a lot of opportunities there. He's been relatively good with the deep ball this season, but we haven't seen a lot of opportunities there. Now, Jaden, he shines with the deep ball. That's been one of his biggest attributes coming into, his career in Washington because in LSU, that's what he was doing. The deep ball was a specialty of his. So to see him actually translate that here with Terry McLaurin is a beautiful thing. If he can get the deep ball going early on against that secondary, he's going to put them in some uncomfortable situations. If he's able to throw over the top consistently against against the Ravens defense, it's going to be a long day for that defense, and it will turn into a shootout. So yeah, defensively, for the Commanders, stop Derrick Henry from running at all costs. Put the pressure on Lamar to get the ball out of his hands quickly or make mistakes. Create turnovers however you can for the most part. And then try not to give up any big plays over the top or try not to consistently get beat by Baltimore skill players. If you're able to do this, Washington, you've got a great chance to win. If Baltimore's able to do what I said, they have a great chance to win. Overall, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a physical matchup. I think it's going to be a shootout. I'm going to be very honest. I think Washington's going to fully dedicate themselves to stopping Derrick Henry, and they're going to turn this into a shootout because they have that much faith and trust in Jaden Daniels delivering. Now, we could be wrong. For all we know, the Commanders blow out the Ravens. For all we know, the Ravens blow out the Commanders. Or for all we know, it's a close game, but it's a low-scoring game. I don't know how it's going to go. But for me, I'm predicting a shootout. The Ravens defense has not shown me much. Now, again, they showed me, again, with the defense, I understand they got skill position players, and we saw on Sunday Night Football with the Bills, when the Ravens defense comes out to play, and they get up to play, and they focus and lock in, and everybody's communicating and just flying around, they can be a good defense. Those are the same players we had seen from last year. So it's up to them to, get themselves together and get back to what they were last year. And this will be a great opportunity to showcase that if you can defensively. But overall, I think it's just going to be a shootout at the end of the day. Both these defenses have not played well overall, and they've given up a lot of points. So I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it can go either way. I really don't want to pick a score. Personally, I'd probably just stay out of it. But I will pick a score this week. I got to be at least a little bit fair here. Overall, I think I'm going to say the Ravens win this 38-31. I think it's going to be a 7-point game. It might be lower than that. You might see a 38-35. Maybe it's a Justin Tucker field goal, but I'm just thinking the Ravens are going to win a highly contested shootout against the Commanders, and we'll advance to 4-2. They'll drop to 4-2, but both teams will leave with something to kind of take away from the whole experience. So yeah, I think I'm going to pick the Ravens to win this 38-31, but at the end of the day, I would not be shocked in the slightest if Jaden Daniels goes into M&T Bank Stadium, pulls off the upset, gets the win, and the Commanders are 5-1. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for me in terms of my game recap. I'm going to take a look at some of the comments, and then I'm going to head on out of here. So, yeah. I got to be first to say I was not expecting this game to have so much hype going into the new season. It wasn't expected, but Jaden Daniels, being Offensive Rookie of the Year and putting himself in the MVP campaign is going to change. It's going to do that for you because he's changing life in Washington. It is what it is. Time for Washington to play a real team. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, you play who's in front of you. I mean, if Cincinnati is not a real team, then what was the Ravens' win last week? They played the Bengals at Cincinnati. We played the Bengals at Cincinnati. They beat the Bengals at Cincinnati. We beat the Bengals at Cincinnati. So I don't know why you're saying they haven't played a real team. Unless you're saying Cincinnati's not a real team, then that means Baltimore's only quote-unquote played one real team, which would be the Bills. It'd be crazy if these two teams meet up in the Super Bowl. One of these days, man, I'm hoping and praying we get a Super Bowl where it's Commanders-Ravens. It would be fantastic for me. Now, both these teams currently are at least the bottom 10 in defense. I'm hoping the Ravens defense tightens up on Sunday. We'll have to wait and see, man. What's going on, Daniel? We'll have to see. What's up, Corey? This is going to be the game of the week. Yes, expect to be the game of the week. Hell, the way they've been hyping this up, it's expected to be the game of the year, the game of the season. I mean, they've been hyping it up like it's the damn Super Bowl. That's just insane. It's crazy how much hype this game has had. But I appreciate it. Advantage, we play them at home. You could look at that as an advantage, but at the end of the day, home, road, if guys are locked in and ready to play, it's not going to matter for them. Ravens play different at home. Last week proves the Ravens play better on the road. Yeah, the Ravens have had... Well, actually, I don't even know if we could say that last week proves they play better on the road, because in Kansas City, they had lost. And then they went to Dallas and almost choked that lead entirely away. And then they went to Cincinnati, and then they embarrassed themselves defensively and got into an overtime shootout with Joe Burrow. They let Jamar Chase just do whatever he wanted to them. Meanwhile, if you look at the two home games they played, they were dominating the Raiders until they choked the 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, and then they just dominated the Bills through and through on Sunday Night Football. So technically, they've been better at home than on the road this year. But, it is what it is. I'm going to be at the game. This should be a fun one. Hey, man, go out there and enjoy that game. Take Terry McLaurin and Austin Eckler away from Jaden Daniels, then double team Jonathan Allen, and we win the game. I mean, you're free to take that chance out of it. If Brian Robinson Jr. plays, I don't think you can just take Eckler out the game and just assume he's not going to do something. But you could look to take Terry McLaurin out the way and see what you can do. And you can also try to double team Jonathan Allen for the most part if you want. At the end of the day, he's going to have other weapons to throw to. He still has McCaffrey to throw to. He still has De'Ami Brown to throw to. So Jaden Daniels has weapons and he can spread the ball everywhere. So I don't think the aspect of just limiting Terry McLaurin is going to be and Austin Eckler is going to be the only thing that's just going to keep them from scoring over 20. I think they'll still find ways to put points up, but that is a good start for them if they're able to do it. He's probably not playing. He's dealing with a knee injury, and they need him for the long haul. Eckler and Daniels are still formidable, though. If Brian Robinson doesn't play, that is a hefty loss, but Eckler is still good enough to be able to do what he needs to do, though. So we'll see what happens. Washington is also a small defense. They live in nickel and dime. We should go over 225 rushing yards as a team Sunday. We'll see. We'll see how the Ravens adjust to whatever the Commanders look to do. If they choose to stack the box up, they choose to load the box up, we'll see how the Ravens adjust to that. But if they're able to get a running game going with Derrick Henry, yeah, it will easily be a quick game. It'll be a long day for the Commanders, and they'll just be on the sideline frustrated as the Ravens just rack the points up. But we'll see. What's going on, Legendary? It's insane how Marcus Williams last year with a torn pec is better than Marcus Williams currently. Hopefully he gets it together. I hope so. He's been playing bad. I wish we could trade for Patrick Surtain so bad. He would be a huge addition. Denver's not trading him. Is Jaden Daniels through 5 games a better passer than Lamar? I want to see your answer because it's been getting real disrespectful. Every week someone's trying to disrespect him, and now these Commander fans. I'm going to be honest. I really don't want to get involved in these debates. Ryan Clark saying that is just embarrassing on his part. He's been having a lot of these type of quotes regarding to Lamar. It's embarrassing. I'll just put it as simple as this, man. If you truly believe after 5 games that Jaden Daniels has shown you enough for you to say he's a better passer than Lamar Jackson, a guy that is a 2-time MVP, a guy that is a 2-time first-team All-Pro quarterback, a guy that has led this league in touchdown passes. If you've seen enough through 5 games to tell you he's a better passer than Lamar Jackson when there's 7 years of film that you can look at, if you took a look at Jalen Daniels and say he's better than Lamar through 5 games, bless your heart. I have nothing else to say. Because, again, it doesn't matter if I show you the stats. It doesn't matter if I show you the analytics. It doesn't matter if I show you the film. You've already determined where you are. If you are willing to say through 5 games, Jaden Daniels is a better passer than Lamar Jackson, bless your heart. There's nothing else that needs to be said. And I don't want to go back and forth in debates with people. I'm way too old to do that, man. I'm not dealing with that. When I was in my teens, when I was like 19, even early 20s, that's cool. I'm 25 now. I'm not interested in getting involved in a back and forth affair with people on the internet. No. If you truly believe that you've seen through 5 games, if you truly believe that you've seen enough from Jaden Daniels to just assume he's a better passer than Lamar Jackson, hey, man, bless your heart. You're entitled to your opinion. I got nothing more to say. Because there's no point in arguing a debate. You're not changing your mind. It doesn't matter if I show you the statistics. It don't matter if I show you the analytics. It doesn't matter if I show you the film. You've made your choice. And it's what it is. We're all entitled to our opinions at the end of the day. So yeah, that's my take on it for the most part. But yeah, it's been like that all throughout the week. We've just been seeing it. It's unfortunate to see that because it's just another situation that's just pinning Jaden Daniels against Lamar Jackson, and we don't need to do that. We need to celebrate both these guys, but instead we want to try to take shots at Lamar or say his guy's better than the other. I don't need to do that, bro. I don't need to do that. Besides, this is not the first time Lamar has dealt with this, and it won't be the last time. It will not be the last time. It will not be the last time, man. We've seen this story. We've literally seen this story with Lamar throughout his career. First it was Kyler Murray. Then it was Justin Fields. Then it was, who else was it? It was another one here that I'm trying to think of that came in. No, I've already said Kyler. First it was Kyler Murray that they made this comments about. Then it was Justin Fields. I felt like there was another one afterwards, but I can't really think of anyone right now. No, I don't think there was anyone else there after that. No, not Caleb Williams. They weren't comparing Lamar to Caleb Williams. They weren't comparing Lamar to Caleb Williams. That really wasn't a comparison. I'm trying to think. Well, Nick Wright's always doing that, and Nick Wright was gonna make that statement anyway because he was trying to say he already picked Caleb and the Bears to go to Super Bowl, so he was one of the outliers. But the media as a whole was not making the comparisons between Caleb and Lamar Jackson for the most part. Man, I'm really trying to think. I'm really sure there was another one that they tried this with. No. Nah. Oh, yeah, I got it. My bad. First it was Kyler. Then it was Justin Fields. No, first it was Kyler. Then it was Jalen Hurts. Then it was Justin Fields. Now it's Jaden Daniels. Next year it'll be Jalen Milroe. That's what I was thinking of. It was Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was the next one. Anthony Richardson was another one, but people compared Anthony Richardson more towards Cam. So they made comparisons. I know they made some comparisons with Lamar Jackson and Anthony Richardson, but those weren't really strong. Because Anthony Richardson's so big and physical and tough, they made instant comparisons to Cam Newton more than they did with Lamar Jackson. So I would more so say Anthony Richardson, the comparisons was more towards the Cam Newton than Lamar Jackson. So I didn't really deal with that. The only reason they would make any sort of comparisons with Lamar Jackson is because Anthony Richardson's a dual threat quarterback. But it was more so towards Cam because his comp was Cam Newton. But yeah, first it was Kyler, then it was Jalen Hurts, then it was Justin Fields, now it's Jaden Daniels, next year will be Jalen Milroe. And yeah, there was that brief moment with that one person that said Taysom Hill that absolutely embarrassed themselves, but they were at least they were somewhat smart enough to make sure they didn't put their name on that because they just wanted to be slick. These anonymous people want to say idiotic things and think they're slick by not putting their names on it. So yeah, Taysom Hill was there for like 2 seconds when they tried to say that. Nobody took that story serious. Not a soul took that story serious, except Saints fans that were trying to quote-unquote hype up Taysom Hill. They knew damn well that wasn't the answer. That didn't even get off the floor. But the debates with Kyler got off the floor. The debates with Jalen Hurts got off the floor. The debates with Justin Fields got off the floor. Now we got the debates with Jaden Daniels. Next season, when Jalen Milroe is in the league, he will be the next person they make a comparison to with Lamar Jackson. And there'll probably be someone that's saying that while Milroe's lighting it up early on in his career, someone will sit back and say he's a better passer than Lamar Jackson. It's just going to be the cycle over and over again. It is what it is. Yeah, I remember that. I remember him saying that. Ravens Flock has been posting that all over Twitter. I can't stop seeing it. But yeah, it is what it is. Me personally, I just don't care. I'm not getting involved in that. The only thing that pisses me off is Ryan Clark just put that empty statement out there and didn't provide any evidence. At least with Kyler, he said, at least with Kyler, he had put up stats through 8 games. Because remember, the first 8 games, Kyler was having an MVP type season. So they compared the first 8 games of stats with Kyler. That's what Ryan Clark did with the first 8 games of stats of Lamar that season. So at least with that, he was trying to make a case based off of the statistics. With this Jaden Daniels take, he just put it out there and provided no evidence. Like, if you wanted to at least make a take, Jaden Daniels has a higher completion percentage right now than Lamar Jackson, and he has a higher QBR. You can at least make a statement off of that. But he just put it out there with no evidence to back up his claims, and people just ate it because this has always been the case when it comes to Lamar Jackson. That actually pissed me off, because if Ryan Clark's going to make that take, show me the evidence. You did that with Kyler. You showed me the statistics. Show me the statistics. Show me the analytics that is proving your claim. When you did that with Kyler, I sat back and said, okay, that's a fair debate, but it's only 8 games through. This is a year after Lamar led the league in touchdown passes and won unanimous MVP. I personally wouldn't take Kyler over Lamar after Lamar just did that, but I understand where you're coming from. I'm looking at the numbers. He's putting up great numbers. Let's see how he finishes off the season. We saw how Kyler finished off the season. The discussions ended very quickly after that. But I at least understood the take he was trying to make with Kyler, and he had the numbers to back it up through the first 8 games. I got what he was talking about. He gave me evidence. We don't have to agree on these takes, but give me evidence to back up your claims. He gave me nothing, and that's what pissed me off when he made that take about Jaden Daniels. Give me the evidence to back it up. Don't just put a blanket statement out there and call it a day. But give me the evidence. It is what it is at the end of the day. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here because, again, I'm not interested in further debating this or discussing it. It is what it is. Yeah, Dan Patrick already said Jalen Milroe is better throwing a lot. Yeah, we know that. We know that. Don't worry. When Milroe is in the league next year lighting it up, the ESPN will be doing their takes of who would you rather have, Lamar Jackson or Jalen Milroe. We get it. I'm already ready for next year for the same conversation to happen. And then if there's some young kid out there that's about to become a freshman or some young guy that's going to be killing it in college football next year, that may end up in the draft. We'll talk about him as well and say how he's a better passer than Lamar. That's just how it is at the end of the day. Lamar doesn't let it bother him. I'm not going to let it bother me. It is what it is. It's never going to change. That's just something that's going to follow Lamar's career. Even when he's in Kent, people will still say he can't throw. It is what it is. You just move on and get over it. But anyway, guys, I'm going to end it here. I went way longer than I thought I was going to go for this. This is damn near an hour. I got to get to the Dodgers game. The Dodgers have been playing for at least an hour now, and I got to see how the score is. It's a do-or-die Game 5 in L.A., and if the Dodgers lose this game, I'm going to be devastated. Ohtani did not come here to get eliminated. We cannot go one and done again. We absolutely cannot go one and done again. So I'm going to end it here. I'm already messing up my camera. I'm going to end it here. This has been my preview. I picked the Ravens to win 38-31, but personally, I think it's going to be a shootout. It'll come down to the wire, and it can go either way. I wouldn't be mad if the Ravens win. I wouldn't be mad if the Commanders win. I love both quarterbacks. I love that I get to watch both the Ravens and the Commanders play good football and actually win games. First time in my life where I can see this on a consistent basis, so I'm happy. Whoever wins the game is whoever wins the game. I just want a great game on Sunday. We'll see what happens. With that being said, guys, I'm going to head on out. I got to go watch this Dodgers game. You guys, be sure to stay safe, and peace out.